Elias, for being with us at Moldova Security Forum, also at the Security Corner, and thank you very much for coming from the US here in Chisinau, Republic of Moldova. I know that you represent the Stimson Center and that you're working right now on a project on Republic of Moldova and also on the US and Moldova partnership. Will you be able to provide a little bit more information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the original idea was looking at Moldova and realizing that many of the challenges and issues that it faced represented a microcosm of the challenges that Europe faced generally, that the United States face, and a really good opportunity to showcase the way in which the United States can collaborate more positively with governments across the world, and a good test case for cooperation, for deepening resilience around a country that is emerging into a democracy. And so this is a multi-year project. We just finished the first phase looking at U.S.-Moldovan cooperation across democracy resilience, economic development, and security. And now we've just begun the second phase, exploring how the U.S. and Moldova can deepen a more effective and responsible security cooperation and defense relationship.
That's great. And I think all of us are very interested into the insights of the project that you're doing. If there are research, please share with us and with all the audience from Moldova. And if you can share a little bit more, how do you think Moldova and US can deepen their partnership and to advance a little bit more looking into the future?
Yeah, admittedly, it's a difficult time to deepen partnerships. Obviously, the United States, under the new administration, is taking a very different posture to Europe, but that isn't to say that there still aren't opportunities for a collaborative partnership. I think specifically with respect to security cooperation and security assistance, the arguments that used to be made around democratic kinship, about shared ideologies, just don't have the same purchase that they once did. But really, Moldova has the opportunity to speak about shared interests and the way in which U.S. support can be a return on investment, and that the partnership can be reciprocal, that both have opportunities to benefit. And I think the theme of the conference around hybrid security is a really good example, where the United States has itself struggled to develop a strong national hybrid security policy to address hybrid security threats around the world among its other partners. And so Moldova has a chance to say, we have a lot of expertise and hard-won experience that we can share with you if we can collaborate. And I think that's an example of the kind of arguments and language that would really benefit the U.S.-Moldova security partnership.
Good. I think that will be also useful for us to understand how to better advance our interests and also to present the case study of the Republic of Moldova. Because lately we've been discussing that Moldova is a laboratory of hybrid threats that are being used by the Russian Federation, and that you can see a lot of vulnerabilities that are being used, including the unrule of law in some ways, the problems with critical infrastructure, disinformation, because there's also a vacuum that is being used by the Russian Federation, but also the social media and how many challenges that poses. But how do you think we can, in a way, present better the case study of Moldova, because it's such a small state comparing to the US, and US has strategic interests in many other regions. How do you think we can better present the case study?
I think this idea of Moldova as a laboratory for hybrid warfare has certainly been true. But as I said in my remarks yesterday, I think it's also been an incubator for resilience. And that's really part of the language that I think Moldova should be using. The United States obviously has a lot of sensitivity when it comes to hybrid warfare. Its own experience has meant that there is politicization of the language and the issue of hybrid warfare, particularly disinformation. But where I think that there is significant overlap, and this was mentioned in one of the panels yesterday, is the criminal intersection with hybrid security threats and the criminality within there. And I think the United States is always very keen to think about transnational security threats, international crime, particularly under this administration. And I think to the degree that Moldova can make the case that that is a critical aspect of countering hybrid security threats, and that part of this is making Moldova a more inviting space for foreign investment, for U.S. commercial interests, I think that is an appealing argument.
That's a very good point. And I think many of the stakeholders have to take that into consideration. And now I would like to ask you if you can share a little bit, how do you think Moldova, politicians, state representatives of state institutions can navigate better the political sensitivities while dealing with Washington at the moment?
Yeah, I think there's a number of ways. And I know that even in Moldova domestically, defense modernization, security cooperation can be a touchy and sensitive topic. And I think what I've said in other contexts as well, and this is true for the United States independently, is that transparency is the best antidote for skepticism and for sensitivity. I think the degree to which that the Moldovan government can, as opposed to trying to assume that there needs to be secrecy and operate behind closed doors, within the realm of responsibility, explain to people why they're engaging with the partnership, what it looks like, and the specifics of how that engagement works and what it means for security for the people of Moldova. I think that's a really strong way of approaching it that navigates those sensitivities both in Moldova and the United States. I think, again, it's really important for Moldova to illustrate to the United States that what it's asking for isn't just charity or the pure generosity of the U.S. government or the U.S. taxpayer, that there is a mutual set of interests at play in Moldova, and that whether it's on the security front, whether it's on the economic and development front, or the democratic resilience front, it's not just about what's good for Moldova, it's what's about good for the partnership and for the United States. And I think making that argument, especially to U.S. policymakers and to the other stakeholders that are actually very interested in the Black Sea region and Moldova's future, will be really important to ensuring that the partnership is resilient and sustainable.
That's a very good point. So also to have shared interests and shared responsibilities between the US, Moldova, and also in the region. Well, thank you very much for your time, Elias. And we are really looking forward to having you again in Chișinău, hopefully next year.
Yeah, be great.
Thank you.